Hi, you guys. This is Robin with Weight Loss Apocalypse. I know it's been a long time since I posted a new session, at least this little clip to the public. It's been a long summer. I've been really busy. Been on vacation. I went to Yellowstone, the Tetons. It's just, I have a family reunion in Seattle, and to be honest with you, have been really slow. I haven't had much work, which is awesome because I've been able to write. So I'm really freaking excited. I may actually get some chapters of what I've written published and potentially could actually publish this entire book for the end of the year. That would be amazing. That would be like Fantasyland, amazing. So I'm not sure if all that's going to happen, but that would be awesome. So, this little clip is actually relevant to what I've been writing because I've been writing about my own recovery and my out-of-body experience. At least that's what I think it was. So in this clip, this client and I are discussing, really what's underneath the eating disorder, which is these feelings of fear, anxiety, the ominous, dark, bad sense that there's something wrong that you can't control or handle. And, our way of removing that feeling is to cope, to reach, to do something, to binge or to micromanage food or to clean your house or to, drink alcohol or whatever it is. Underneath all of that is a feeling, a terrible, horrible feeling of loss and the inability then to handle that loss. We're describing it in this, and the way I'm really going into how I experienced this, and I experienced the awareness of it, which came to me after I recovered. So to recover, however, I had to face that feeling, and I had to do it without feeling sorry for myself. It was like, and I describe it in this clip, and you'll hear it. I was doing it in a way that is willful to the will of God, or to the truth of my life's purpose, versus I'm doing this hoping for mercy. Those are two very different things. So what I'm directing her to do and what I'm going to direct everybody to do is to do it and allow whatever that feeling is to show up and be there. It's there for a reason. And if you face it, there may be a calling in it. There may be a reality in that is part of your destiny. It's what we're discussing is actually quite fundamental to it was for my eating disorder. So once I stopped everything and got down and pared it down to what I was actually doing, that's what this discussion is about. It's kind of deep. It's really for those of you who are on the cusp of that recovery, this is going to actually make sense to you. If you're not on the cusp of recovery and you're still trying to figure out how many carbs you're eating, this is just, you're not in that space yet. That's okay. But it is very relevant for those who are suffering so intensely that you are ready to surrender your will to then allow the will of what you don't know. So, if you want to watch this whole session, you're going to have to join the private Patreon account supporting Weight Loss Apocalypse. Supporting the writing that I'm doing, and all of my current YouTubes. There's a few hundred YouTube sessions from the beginning or the end of 2016. So there's 2 years of sessions in there that you haven't seen. Although I am starting to make public those sessions from a couple years ago. There's enough content in this Patreon account that is relevant to my current writing. It'll take 2 years to watch it all. So anyways, enjoy this clip. If you want, again, to see the whole one, you're going to have to join Patreon. The link is below. If you want to work with me, I need more clients. I am super slow right now. I have plenty of time. In fact, if you go to the website that's below and fill in the request form, I'll get back to you today and we could probably even talk today. Yeah. Although I am writing, so I don't know. You want more sessions or you want me to publish a book? It'd be nice to have a balance of both. Okay. Enjoy. Thanks for coming to my YouTube channel. And we'll talk soon.
And just yuck. So I was like, I have to let go of all sorts of things.
Well, if you're no longer coping or trying to hide from what you're afraid of, what happens to the need for that new age stuff? I mean, do you really need it? Or is that just another form of coping?
Yeah, that's all it is. It's like, let me get my chakras. I mean, it's like all forms of coping. I realized that I was just running from one rabbit hole to another of coping mechanisms. And I'm like, oh, God. I'm so tired of all these.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you're using this stuff as a coping mechanism, it's enabling, and you don't even need the. For example, it's like you can go into religion. Does it mean that the religion is malicious and enabling you, or are you using it for that? This is where you have to be bluntly truthful with yourself. You have to be willing to tell the truth to yourself. Even though it would be so much easier just to convince yourself that it's better to repress it, right? You have to be able to say, I'm afraid, and just be truthful. I'm not hungry. Well, tell the freaking truth. Because if you tell the truth, then you're not going to eat. So,
okay.
Yeah, you're lying to yourself in there. You're just not being...
There's
Yeah, you're lying. You're not telling the truth.
Overwhelm that kind of comes, and then I'm not stopping. Instead, I'm like,
no, you're not telling the truth. If you're not hungry, and this did help me in that very beginning. It's like, if I'm not hungry, I have to tell the truth, because I can no longer afford to lie. That is enabling me to not face what I'm not been facing. So I will tell the truth and force myself to be vulnerable to what I'm afraid of and actually face it. And it's like head on. It's like being in it's like having drama with a relationship. It's like, who wants to feel vulnerable and tell the truth when you've been lying? It's not a good feeling. Tons of dissonance, right? I had to do that even though no one was overseeing me, because that's the thing with this process, eating to hunger. There's no oversight. I'm not gonna be that, right?
Right.
And so the truth is, if your heart is in this place that is wanting recovery, you will do it without my suggestion, because you want that recovery. And you can feel, by lying to myself in this moment, I am postponing freedom for every time. Every time you lie to yourself and you eat without hunger, or you go and remove food to compensate, any of that, any type of dieting, any type of exercise with the idea that you're removing consequences, all of that, you are postponing your freedom, and you are spreading out the poison. So do you want recovery or not? It's like every single time you lie to yourself, and you know it, you're not recovering. But at some point, if you want to recover, what do you have to do?
Right.
So you either do it now, or you just keep on living in hell. Which one do you want?
Yeah. It feels like it's like Pandora's box, because all of a sudden you realize, like, you're repressing, and there's all these belief systems. There's just nothing but junk in the closet.
I know. And you know what it feels like? It's like, are you willing to find out if your husband's cheating?
Right.
That's what it feels like. Because if I find out he's cheating, there's a major change that's about to happen. Like, huge evolution that will occur. Well, do you want that evolution, or do you want to stay in the dark?
Right.
And so for me, it was so catastrophic. And this is the downside of it not being that bad, is you can just draw this sucker out, because you're really not that miserable. It was that or suicide. So for me, it was, I have no alternative. Either I face this and open myself to what feels like it's going to kill me anyways, or I just kill myself. So it's the same thing. So I remember actually thinking, so what's Why don't I just open myself up to the truth first? And I always have the option of suicide versus never even finding out and just killing myself in fear of what it is. At least if I find out, I am giving myself an opportunity to then address. And in doing so, I had a massive shift of consciousness that I've never returned from that ever.
Yeah.
So that's really what you're avoiding.
Yeah.
Just tell yourself the truth.
It's like I'm beginning to understand, like I'm really getting to that place where I think I'm at the point where it's time to just do it. It's like all the time, every day, just keep doing it.
Every time, all the time. Tell the truth, live in the truth, be in the truth, accept the truth.
Like we've covered, like I have a pretty good idea that most of the stuff I'm going to find is bogus belief systems and just negative emotions that are normal anyway. So
yeah, but you've never really let them come out. You've never really experienced sadness, grief. You've never really allowed that to be and exist without shame, judgment, or feeling sorry for yourself. So in this case, it would be like if you have grief, you're going to experience the grief and you won't feel sorry for yourself. That's different.
Right.
That's removed from the idea it should be different or better than that. It's like, no, this is life. I'm now experiencing my humanness, and I believe it is good as it is. It's perfect as it is. So grief is perfect as it is. I don't have to feel sorry for myself for experiencing grief. That's like feeling sorry for myself for being alive, for having this human experience. That's narcissism, right? So keep that in mind. It's like I'm about to open myself up to humanness for the first time, and I don't feel sorry for myself because of it.
Right. And I'm safe.
Well, I'm
to not be safe from when you think about it.
Well, I'm capable of experiencing it because unless I'm capable, I'm gonna, be completely dissipate into thin air because I won't have an existence. It's like, that's what it feels like. I know that sounded weird, but that's what it feels like. That if I experience this grief or sadness or loss, that it will kill me. It will obliterate me, the concept of me. Then there's no there. There will be no there in my soul. Like there's no soul. That's what the fear actually is. If you really work it down, there is nothing there. And you have to be okay with that. What if there's no there? Well, guess what? That's none of your business. It's not like you created the nothingness. Oh my God, I don't know if I'm making
it. Like you'll be empty of desire. You'll be empty of
anything.
Like emptiness.
Correct. Like there's nothing there. And that's the fear that there might be nothing there. Well, guess what?
It might be blissful.
Correct. And it has nothing to do with you. What if it's not you? What if you're just stardust?
Yeah. So
it's such a for me. It's been for at least the experience that I am experiencing. It has been beyond words, infinite. What that opens you up to is infinity, because you're not conformed to one thing. So you're constantly open to life as it manifests, as it blossoms, as it exists. You don't even need to know. So you can just be. It's like being a kid again. I just am. It just is. Why do I gotta put it in a hierarchy of bad and good, and then have all the pressure to do something about it or not do anything about it, and then feel bad that I'm not, but it's bad that I'm.
Like I don't have anything I have to strive for. There's
Nothing.
no goal I have to reach. I'm just
No, well, and for me, it's like I will just be and exist from that space, and then as things come up, that's how I feel. I may not be the creator of those feelings. It could be evolution. It could be the animal brain. It could be whatever it is, but it is what it is. And for me to sit here and say that I should not have that, you have to have that, to believe that I shouldn't have that, to believe that you believe you're God and you should know what it should be. You're basically saying the way I am and the way everything exists is wrong. To do that, you would have to be the creator of all existence throughout all of time.
Yeah, and I could see how even for somebody who's struggling, like with whatever I'm struggling with, when I look at David Hawkins' work, above 200 is good, below 200 is like negative. So then you're like, negative feeling. Not good, and I'm sure he didn't mean for it to be that way.
No, if you actually study his work, that's the animal brain, that's the human survival mechanisms. It takes millennia for those to be there. They serve a purpose. They're actually very important, and the idea is to transcend them so you can experience a different way of being. It's not bad or good. So you'd have to study his work. That's the problem if you're stuck in those spaces that are survival oriented, you can't even conceive what he's writing. You're just, everything is being distorted into your position. So, and you know,
his book Letting Go right now. So I started it recently. So I read a couple of chapters. So I don't know.
I love his work. I just, I appreciate it so much that I didn't need his work to recover. You know, he didn't have his work done for him to be where he's at. He's just trying to verbally explain from a linear way of describing things, these concepts, you know.
Yeah, I think I can see how it's just my fear of facing it feels so strong, and when it comes up in resistance, so I just have to stand my ground and be like, I'm gonna just, whatever this is, it's really not even that bad or whatever.
Well, what if it feels that bad? I don't know if I would recommend you try to convince yourself it's not that bad. I know for me, when those feelings came up, it felt like I was going to die.
Right.
So if you actually allow them to be there, what if that concept that you thought ahead of time is super false? You just have to let it become what it is and surrender to it. And if it's going to kill you, you let it kill you. That was something that I remember becoming aware of as I was experiencing it, was that this is the feeling I've been running away from my whole life. I've had this feeling of being murdered or going to be murdered. I've had this on so many levels since I can recall. The need to fix, the need to remove. And it's like, because if I don't, that feeling's going to come up. And the feeling hasn't always been that intense, but it's always been there. And it's like, and I remember thinking, so if this feeling is meant to be here, and let's just see, and it's constantly coming back, what if it is my life's calling is for it to kill me, override me, take over? What if that is the truth of my life and I'm repressing it, running away from it? So I'm going to be miserable until the moment I face it. Because what if that's the destiny in this lifetime? What if that is ultimately the destination of this lifetime and I'm trying to change destiny? The assumption was that it was going to kill me. Like murder. It feels like a bad, bad thing outside of you. Feels like you're going to die. And it's going to be like horrible, horrible. Dismemberment. Just something it's very grave, very bad. This is ominous. Like this ominous thing that's coming after. It feels like the Grim Reaper. Yeah. I'm being chased by the Grim Reaper.
Right.
And what if it's my time to die?
It begins to rise and you're like, I don't know what this is.
Well, you go into denial. So what I realized is that, that's being in denial. You're lying to yourself. So again, this came to me was that, okay, this Grim Reaper, if this is the truth of my destiny, I can no longer be in denial about it. I will allow destiny to manifest. I can no longer fight, defend myself, hide, because my whole life is being defined by everything I got to do to hide myself from this feeling.
Yeah. And do you just ask the feeling, like, what is this? Basically.
surrendered and allowed. It was as if I was allowing myself to get murdered. Limp. So when you say there's that feeling I'm repressing, oh, I'll just convince myself it's not as bad as it is. Does that sound right? Does that sound like sound advice?
It doesn't sound like that's logically or realistically.
It's not real sound. Exactly. It's like, yeah, you convince yourself that it's not that bad. Well, guess what? When you stop repressing that feeling, it could get bad. For me, it got horror story. It was like just being dismembered, heaved off a cliff. It was so terrifying. The only way to do nothing was to visualize myself allowing my head get chopped off without fighting. In total submissive, humbly surrendering. That it was like complete and total, thy will be done. I'm done with my will. Thy will be done. I'm done with my will. Because my will has been to run away from this feeling. And if this feeling is here, it means that there's something, some destiny in it. There's maybe some, I don't know what it is. Maybe this is God's will. And I am fighting God. Why can't I just, if I am meant to die of a heart attack, of whatever it is I'm dying from in this moment, however it comes across, because it all feels like it's in my brain. Because it's not literally here. I'm not literally seeing the Grim Reaper wanting to gouge my eyeballs out. That's just my thoughts and my feelings. And it felt real.
Yeah.
So, however, I don't exist. If I do not exist, that is not my will. I'm not the creator of this life. I'm just here. You hear the surrendering in that. I am laying down my life and self-concept for whatever the truth is. I'm not going to play God anymore.